The following programming is sponsored by Mark J. Bernstein. The views expressed do not necessarily reflect the views of this station, its management, or Beasley Media Group. Entrepreneur, founder, author, and financial advisor Mark Bernstein helps high-performing business owners turn their visions into reality. Through his innovative work and the Forward Focus Forums, Mark connects entrepreneurs to resources that fuel their success. Founders Forum is a radio show and podcast where entrepreneurs share their journeys, revealing the lessons they've learned and the stories behind their success. Join Mark and his guests for a mix of inspiration, valuable insights, and a little fun. Now, let's dive in.
Good morning, America. How are you? It is not a sunny day in Philadelphia today. It's raining. And our guest today is Nik. I'll tell you more about him in a minute. But Nik, I was thinking about the weather on the way in here. And I was thinking how people are really affected by the weather. My wife is always looking at the weather report and, oh no, it's going to be raining today. Or, oh yeah, it's going to be raining because we need the rain, but I don't like it. And to me, it's like, I think of the Beatles song Rain, which is rain, shine, I don't mind. That's kind of like, to me, I like the changes. I don't mind it. But, people, it seems to me people are affected by the weather. What's your view of that?
Absolutely. I think it can certainly affect people's moods, along with the seasons. Today it's very gloomy, overcast. I've definitely had experiences where I look out the window and I'm like, I'm going to hang out here for a couple more minutes, not ready to pop right out.
Right. Yeah, sometimes you want to stay in bed a little longer and that kind of thing. But I think without the changes, look, I live in Florida part of the year. And, of course, I go in the winter, and it's sunny and blue every day, and it's beautiful. And then every once in a while you get rain, and I'm kind of like thankful because it's like changing it up a little bit, some too much of the same. You don't want it to be like Groundhog Day.
Right.
I mean? So anyway, our guest today is Nikolas Mondo, and I just want to tell you before I go into his whole intro that he and I met. We had a magical evening one night a year ago or so, I think. I don't remember how long ago it was, at the Union League of Philadelphia, where we shared a cigar made by his family, which is like kind of the legacy cigar. And it was a wonderful night, and we said, we're going to have to get together on the show. And we're finally here, so I'm very excited about it, Nik.
Yeah, I am as well, and we'll have to reconvene over another cigar.
That sounds good to me. So Nikolas Mondo, Nik Mondo, is founder and CEO of Mondo Media Solutions. He's an entrepreneur and founder of Mondo Media Solutions, as I said, a Philadelphia-based commercial AV and technology integration company. He has a passion for both business growth and building strong client relationships, and focuses on delivering innovative solutions that bring people, spaces, and technology together. I'm going to change it up a little bit today, Nik. Your business is busting out all over right now. A lot of good things happening. Let's talk about that, and then we'll get into your story.
Yeah, so over the last several years, we've seen explosive growth in almost every vertical that we're in, from the MSP side to just general overall low voltage technologies within organizations. So one of the ways that we've kind of expanded so rapidly is by providing multiple services for our clients once we get in the door. It's kind of a single source solution, total technology partner.
For the non-techies amongst us, explain what all that means in real terms. You go into business and what are you actually doing?
Yeah, absolutely. So when we get initially a contract, will come in to do security cameras or access control, things of that nature.
That's how you usually start, right? That's
one of those. The phone, or they'll reach out for any one of the services we provide, and then once they realize that they're paying multiple vendors for all of these different services, and we can consolidate that, generally saving them a lot of money. That's kind of how we've continued to have such explosive growth. But leading into as of late, we're now working with the national companies. We just got onboarded with the largest privately held company in the United States. So there's a lot of expanse and resource allocation that we've had to rapidly accommodate to
You had
facilitate.
to hire a bunch of people? Or?
Yes. And, the projects that we have are ranging from, the bulk of our projects are from New York to D.C., but, we're working actively with projects in Rhode Island and Georgia and now Florida. So hopefully I'll come down.
This is a national company, so
yeah,
right?
Yeah. So it's. I mean, traditionally we've just been up and down the East Coast, but we're also starting to expand west. More frequently than we were. So we would have legacy clients that would have us kind of one-off project here or there on the West Coast, and it's we're regularly seeing that as an expansion. So
I didn't mean to cut you off, but hopefully I will see you in Florida this week. Down there. So it's great. So now that we know what you do and we know it's booming. How many employees do you have, by the way?
Well, we balloon on the construction projects. Right now we're about 36, right. And then we have a whole bunch of 1099s for the different services that we provide. So as we...
how many people totally do you have working out there today, would you say?
I think right now we're just under about 78.
Gotcha.
So on the... between the 1099s and the fractional support that we have and the W-2s.
Gotcha. So let's back up and tell us how you started. How going back to, because you're not from Philadelphia originally. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about how you got into business and how it morphed into what it is today. And I want to talk a little bit about the challenges you've had since you started the company, because all but one guest on the show have had them. We were talking about it offline before. So, so tell us about the beginnings.
So I grew up in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, and from out there, first job ever was helping out on a farm. My buddy had owned the farm, and my dad would take me prior to school. We would go work, and then I would ride the bus from there into school, and that taught me a lot of the work ethic that I still have today. Growing up, my family was a lot of my family are entrepreneurs with businesses who are currently my mentors. Just really drilled in and instilled the work ethic in me. And fast forward into my early 20s, I started working at a production company where we did live events for concerts and events. And I started in the warehouse there and worked my way up till I was running the sales department there, and then eventually got poached by a company. It was nationally one of the largest companies for live events for the staging side. I, from there, did a lot of events at the White House, down to National Mall, up and down the East Coast, New York, and ultimately partnered with someone that I met there doing a political event, and started my first business. And from there, I learned a lot as my first business endeavor, that business can be Darwinistic. And
was that a staging business? Was that primarily staging? Or?
It was essentially what I'm doing now, just not as many verticals.
Got it.
So we were just doing kind of installation of audio and video and conference rooms and things of that nature.
What happened with that business, and how did you come to start one by yourself? We hit the ground running very quickly, and then it just kind of, as some business relationships do, we just kind of started butting heads a little bit, and then just ended up splitting ways. So that was it was a good learning tool for me, and just kept it moving. I came back towards Philadelphia. That business was based down around D.C. Okay.
Came back to Philadelphia, regrouped, and rolled right into another company, helping them facilitate their growth. As I was unsure what I wanted to do at that point. I had spent a lot of time in that industry, and I was thinking about pivoting. It was a real blow to my ego and my mental state, just as I'd worked so hard to get there.
Go back to work for someone else.
Yeah, and so ultimately I worked at another company and was helping them facilitate their growth, and saw you intrinsically get asked for installed or permanent installations when you're working in the live event space. They say, "Oh, wow, this is beautiful. Can you do this here for us? And then we can rent this out," and so on and so forth. So with that, I saw the channel there, and I asked the CEO if he wanted to go down that route. Did not. So I started the sister company, and then within a couple of years, had to make the move as we were continuing to grow.
Gotcha. And when did you actually start Mondo Media?
In 2017 is when the company was founded, and we have rolled right from there into COVID, and from there now into the tariff situation, where it's been a real fun time and a real fun journey to start a company in 2017.
So there's those hills and valleys that we always talk about. What were some of your biggest challenges from that period to today?
Biggest challenges I had essentially was bootstrapping. So company is privately owned. I haven't taken any PE. So just managing the bootstrapping aspect from all the resources that it takes to operate a business to getting creative with that. So that's been one of the biggest challenges with supporting so many verticals.
So I was going to ask you about the skills you've developed, but creativity, I imagine, is one of them, right?
Yeah, I used to deploy my creative outlet in music by playing drums, and I did that throughout my childhood and 20s. And then as I become more limited on my bandwidth of time, my creative outlet.
Bandwidth, I get it.
Yeah.
I actually, by the way, I'm a
Pun
musician.
intended.
I actually have that name, bandwidth, reserved for
That's great.
Yeah, so
I appreciate that.
because I think there needs to be a live technology. Maybe you can help me with this, where bands can rehearse and perform in sync. Because obviously Zoom, none of that stuff works.
Yeah, there was. They were trying to do that, perform shows during COVID. I do remember that. But yeah, there's probably a market there for us.
I remember one, but the Rolling Stones did a live show, and I found out afterwards they had to patch it all together. They didn't have the technology to just perform live on this video and have it in sync.
Huh.
And it still was a little out of sync if you listen to it.
Yeah.
So if they couldn't find it wasn't out there. There are some now, but they're very complicated to work, and I'm sure it's coming.
It's latency issues and getting all that to align. With
AI,
AI, I'm sure that will continue to develop for sure.
I'll sell them my name when it's ready. So, anyway, we have room, by the way, for a drummer once in a while in the studio if you want to come down. And
Okay,
join us.
absolutely.
So anyway, that's where your creativity came from. And just tell me how that was exercised in the business and where you had to use that, if you can give me an example.
Yeah, for sure. So obviously having limited resources, we can't just apply all the people to the positions. You have to get creative with how we're deploying resources, along with the issues we faced with procuring equipment during COVID. That was just we saw 24, sometimes 30 months on back orders for equipment where, there was just creative solutions. I formed a group online with other business owners across the country in the same vertical where it's like, hey, what do you have in your warehouse? How can we, we kind of just all stuck together to get the needle moving, keep the needle moving for our clients. That was a big challenge. It took a lot of creative thought to navigate through those times for that. And currently, it's continued on to as we continue to grow, getting the right team on board. I've had to make a couple changes there. So that's when you're expanding rapidly. I'm still trying to keep a heavy focus on quality control.
Yeah, so thinking about that. So as you're growing, obviously there's challenges with that. And one of them, and you talked about changes, and we might need to finish this after our break, which is coming up in a minute. But tell me about your company culture, because as things grow, sometimes it's harder to keep that together. So first of all, what are you trying to build in the culture in your company, and how have the changes impacted that?
Sure. So integrity, I'd say, is the first word. If something's wrong, or if we inevitably, if we do something incorrect, we fix it. And that's something that was instilled to me when I was young. I was told you can judge the integrity of a man by the work he does in a place that no one will see. So I've tried to maintain that, and we've actually slowed down to speed up. That was the main thing that we did. We slowed down to change our ERP software and how we were managing our projects. And with that, it was a challenge, as anyone that has tried to roll through and change the software, and that they will know that the challenges you face with that. So with that, you lose some personnel. It can be very frustrating. That's deviating from the norm of their schedules, and that's a challenge. It's something that you face when you're rolling through that. So keeping the integrity For the people that you sometimes have to ad hoc throw onto the roster, so to speak, is something that you just try and make sure they're ingrained with the core company values, and that's you lead with that when you're hiring, and make sure that those missions and core values align.
Love that. And this is a great place to take a break. So we're going to take a 1-minute break, and we'll be right back with Nik Mondo on Founders Forum.
Business technology should work for you, not against you. At Mondo Media Solutions, we're your total technology partner. From IT services that keep your network secure, to conference rooms that make every meeting seamless, to access control and security systems that protect your people and property, we bring it all together. With one service contract covering all your technologies, managing your business is simpler, smarter, and stress-free. Whether you're a law firm, a fitness center, a brewery, or a corporate headquarters, Mondo Media Solutions designs, installs, and manages the technology that drives your business forward. Stop stressing about tech. Start focusing on growth. Mondo Media Solutions, your complete business technology solution. Visit MMSProAV.com or call us today at 267-713-9876.
We are back on Founders Forum, and we're having Mondo fun with Nik today. How do you like how I worked that in?
Growing up, there's been a lot of play with my last name, and
it's a great last name.
I appreciate it. In fact, a fun little fact here is one of my friends in high school came up to me in high school with a napkin and said, "Can I use your name for wrestling?" And I said yes, and he ultimately became like one of those professional backyard wrestlers. I don't remember one of those, but it's now if you Google my name, he comes up next to it.
Well, it sounds like it should be up. That should be a wrestler's name. It's great for that. It's pretty cool. So we were talking about integrity as a core value of yours. Happens to be one of our core values in our company as well, and we use a very specific definition of integrity. And I'm going to paraphrase it, but basically, it's do what you say you're going to do it on time. And if you can't do that, if you can't keep your word, because that's called keeping your word, and this comes from a Harvard Business Journal article that's been out there and become very popular. So keep your word, and if you can't keep your word, honor your word, which means get in front of it. And that means if you're my customer, you're my client, and I can't do what I said I'm going to do on time and do it right for you, I'm going to say, "Hey, Nik, unfortunately, this happened. What can I do to undo any harm I'm going to cause you?" But that's how seriously we take it.
Sure.
If that's if we can't accomplish that on time, and most people will say, "Well, it's okay. You have a few more days or whatever it is," or we're going to really do what we have to do to undo any harm. So, how does that align with your definition of integrity? Is it close to?
It's right in line.
Yeah.
It's almost verbatim. And I think that applies to every industry. And if one of your core values is integrity, the main thing that have focused on is managing expectations, and that goes a long way. And the clear and concise communication with your clients and being honest, that's really what has led us to be at the point where we're at, as we've to date have not done any marketing. I've spent $0 on marketing, and it's been word of mouth all the way. Or they've just called, and we are doing heavy SEO now, and it's we're seeing the benefits of that. But going back to the integrity side, it's something that leaving that as a core value, you're not going to go wrong.
You're right where we are. Our business obviously is all word of mouth as well in financial planning business, but we are now also looking to start marketing because we have something special we feel going, and we need to get the word out there. So I get that. So I wanted to bring up that distinction because most people, when you ask them what integrity means, it means telling the truth or being honest, or but that's a quality. And integrity, the way you're using it and the way we use it, is about action. It's about things you do. How you communicate, doing what you say you're going to do, being on time. There's a lot loaded into that.
Yeah.
But it's not just a quality; it's about your actions.
Yeah.
Which I thought it was important to make that distinction. So let's talk about if we were. So it's October now. I don't know when you're listening to this, listeners, but it's now October of 2025. if it'll be closer probably by the time you're listening, but if it's October of 2028 and you and I are together having a cigar, whatever we're doing, and we're looking back on the last 3 years, what would have to happen in your life, and it could be your business and it could be your personal life if you'd like, but what does that vision look like for a 3-year period where you would say that was a successful 3-year period in my life and in my business?
Absolutely. So as of last year, that came to the fruition of my 5-year plan. And this year, I'll be resetting my next 5-year plan. The 3-year for me is going to be focusing on personal goals. I have really pushed hard and spent a lot of time and resources personally into building the business. 3 years success line for me looks to be able to continue to put people in those positions where they are handling more of the day-to-day operations. Personally, I'm working towards like to get my private pilot's license and get back into cycling. I had a back injury where I've been doing PT. I'm trying to recover from several herniated discs. I had back surgery prior, so for me, I'd love to be able to golf and kind of just go out there and do the day-to-day activities again and get back a little bit of the personal side, the social side of myself.
Cycling is bicycling?
Yeah.
Bicycling.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They're two of my passions, golf and bicycling as well. So,
yeah, it's when you're limited on the activities you can do because of your back, that's one of that and rowing is I'm kind of limited with
You're a rower too? Or?
No, I just it's something that I enjoyed.
Yeah.
I played hockey growing up, so
hence the back injuries. Doesn't help, I know. Mine's hip, so I've been a little limited with golf lately and cycling, but I did a 40-mile ride recently to the shore, which was I hadn't done that for a while, so I'm getting back to it. So
was that for a cause?
The MS ride. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I've had some friends do that the other year. I will likely try and get into the MS ride next year. I think that's something I really would prefer to support. Also, it's a good cause. I
signed up to do 75, but last minute because the hip has really been bothering me. I said I'll be able to do this, but I may not be able to walk for a couple of days. So I decided to just go with 40. But next year the plan is 75 again. So. Maybe we'll do that. Join our team.
Yeah, I would love to, actually.
Cool.
I'll commit to that.
Commit to that. All right, it's a commitment. We talked about commitment in the last couple of shows, so we won't get into that now, but that means we're doing it.
Okay.
All right, cool. Yeah. I'm in. So what challenges do you see with the 3-year goals? Because one of the things with entrepreneurs when they say they're going to do things for themselves, my observation is the business still kind of sucks them up, and they don't always get to it. That's one possible one, but I don't want to put words in your mouth. But what do the challenges in regard to that look like?
That is certainly spot on assessment. Okay. All of the personal goals normally fall by the wayside just when we get back to the bandwidth statement. So
right.
I'm really going to try and carve out that time for this period, and that will be. The other challenge I think that we'll face is the continued growth. And do we open up in another market or another satellite location to support some of the resources that we need farther away?
By the way, I didn't ask you, but it's unusual. People usually mention, we want to double our business or we want to, how much they want to increase their business. You didn't mention that. You looked at, which I love that you looked at the personal side. But what does that growth look like for you if you have that defined for the next 3 years?
So we just took a period of what I anticipated to be 9 months into ultimately ended up being 13 months for us to swap out all of our software, and it was a slowdown to speed up. We had to reassess every single aspect of the company from our documentation, our deployment, how we're operating internally and externally. So with that, we're now built to continue to scale. We're working on securing a commercial property for ourselves to move into, and I think that success for us is the continued growth. We have some legacy clients that our roadmap looking at that, could be $60-70 million down the road operation within the next 5-6 years. So it's going to be. Luckily, all my hair already fell out. So I'm just going to really
hair
lean
left
on
to lose.
I'm just going to really lean on my team, and get the right people in the right positions and trust in them and make sure that I'm allowing them to do what they need to do in order to succeed as well.
So we talk a lot about that on the show, the putting people into their unique abilities.
Yeah.
And then let them go. Get people that can do those things better than you can do them.
Yep.
And you have nothing to worry about. You just have to lead.
That's it. And I think that I like coaching, and I don't like micromanaging. So it's something that one of my questions is it done? Is it not done? And if it's not, what was the roadblock? And if that's a trend that continues, then maybe it's not an issue with the actual work itself.
Yep. So I know you're a reader. Tell me, what book are you currently reading, Nick?
Well, normally I'm reading business books or self-improvement books, and I have 3 books on the desk. All right.
You're like me. I can't ever just read one book.
Well, I picked up Imminent by that was Jose Elizondo, I believe, is the author, and it's a book about the UFO and UAPs. I'm just interested in that, and he was a government official, or he was in the defense space for both space and a bunch of different acronym government entities, right? So that's a book that I'm reading, but I also just picked up all of the flight training books that are sitting on my desk that, if they're sitting there and I'm looking at them every day, I'm going to be more inclined to just start the process. But it's one of those things
so
where
you haven't flown before?
I have flown. Most of my uncles are private pilots and have different planes. And every time I go to Tampa every year for spring training for baseball, and my uncle usually takes me flying there, and we go out and fly around. And so I've been getting lessons over the years privately as a flight instructor as well. So it's just something that I would love to have my own license and be able to jump around and maybe conduct some of these farther site surveys.
Nice. That's great. By the way, Tampa for spring training, you're going to see the Yankees, not the Phillies. I think.
Oh, well, we'll just have to. Yeah, no, that's going to be a no. Definitely Phillies through and through.
Okay, but but you go to other cities then from Tampa to see spring training, or no?
Yeah, so you can jump around. I think Blue Jays is in Dunedin. Yeah, there's a bunch of spring training teams. Everyone goes down there for the Grapefruit League and Yankees, and Yankees Stadium down there is beautiful. I've been, it's they really do it right.
I was there for the opening when the Phillies played them, actually.
Okay, wow.
Steinbrenner Field, yeah. So, and that actually, there we are. There's the sound. So that's all the time we have. Nick, I knew we were going to have Mondo fun today, and we did. We started out that way, and it's been a great show. Thanks for being here.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thanks. Thank you, and thank you all for listening, and we'll see you next week on Founders Forum.
We hope you enjoyed your time with Founders Forum and that you found value to take with you throughout your day. Join us again next week for another episode of Founders Forum on WXKB 1039 HD2.